For joining us. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us at the 2020 Holiday Social. A social unlike any others that we've had, but we thank you for joining us. Linda and her committee, her membership committee, have really put up a creative solution for how can we make this fun and how can we make it a little bit social as well. So as I think many of you heard, we are coming live from Atavola. And how tonight's going to go, it's fairly casual, but we have about an hour together. We are, first of all, going to start with a virtual tour. We had to come here on Friday and we got to have a tour of the marketplace, as well as there's a little bit of special holiday section in the back that Lisa Peterson shared some of her favorite things. So we'll be viewing that video. And then after that, we will have a live demonstration by Lisa Peterson, the owner, and I'm sure many of you know her from either here or the co-op or the Shakespeare Festival. And so she will be here and she's fun and talented. So she'll be sharing one of her favorite holiday appetizers that we can all try to recreate. And then after that, we will have a membership moment and then some social time. And Linda Riley will be sharing or connecting with some of you who decided you wanted to share some of your favorite holiday traditions and recipes as well. So did I miss anything? I don't know. I'm excited that everybody's here. And we will go ahead and get started then. Thanks again for joining us. And hopefully you can hear the video. It's always, different volumes. So if you can't hear it very well, please turn your volume up. And also we did add closed captioning. So in case there is any difficulty hearing, hopefully that will assist. So thank you and take a listen.
So, where's the board supposed to be? I hear you and
Lisa Peterson graciously invited us in. Hi, today we're here at Atavola Gourmet Marketplace and Cafe, where owner Lisa Peterson graciously invited us in. So join me.
So you think calling others
John, stop it. I'm on a Zoom call.
Welcome to the Christmas
Don't
room.
talk to me
This
now.
is our secret Christmas room. I think this is our 5th, maybe 6th year that we've done this. And we advertise through our newsletter. Only if you're not signed up on the newsletter, you don't know about it. And that's why it's a secret. But you're going to get in on the secret tonight. And we're just going to give you a tour of what we have here. Let's see. I came up with it because I ran out of room up front. So this started as a craft space. So it was going to be like a thinking room and a brewing for creativity. And we started getting freight in for Christmas, and the boxes are to the ceiling. Ended up being kind of like an overflow. And there was so much overflow that we just decided we'd turn it into a Christmas room. So that was, I think, 5 or 6 years ago. And it's just kind of grown every year. Now we actually buy to fill it.
How about theme? Sounds like you get a theme each year, and maybe talk about this year's.
So this year's theme, we even painted the door, is the Tiffany theme. Set this up in here takes about, well, this year took us 4 months. We painted all the boxes, and we do have real Tiffany's boxes in there too that I stole from my daughters. This section, we kind of break things up in color schemes because it helps people that are decorating in certain colors. So this one is the gold and kind of warm tones. So we have all sorts of decorations for the tree, or some retail too, different candles and stuff. Things we have in here are just for decor. People are always asking if they can buy my decor pieces, and the answer is no. And the reason is because that's what sets us apart from everybody else. We buy these things, we look for things, we travel, we find whatever inspires us, and we use them in the displays. This is our pink section. There's just a lot of different items in here, from retail to decor. This is a company that's really great because it's old glass. It's made with cut glass. It just gets better and better with age. Okay, so this is one of our new favorite things. This is a French men's line. And what's really big The last couple of years is bourbon anything. If it says bourbon, they buy it. Everything from shaving cream, soaps, candles, and then there's some other stuff, this Havana, really nice, something different that you don't find everywhere for gifts for men. Is one of my favorite pieces. We started this year, a new category for us is vintage. When I downsized and moved into a small house, and I'm old. So when you get older, you start getting rid of your things. And then your children don't want any of your things because they buy from IKEA. I started bringing some of my collection of crosses down and some other things that I wanted other people to have, because we try and have like an experience. It's not just to come and eat or to shop, but to evoke some kind of experience when people are here. So I wanted to bring the stuff that I had, and that's how it started. And then a friend who called me and said, I'm at the antique mall. I don't know what this is they're unloading. You have to see it. Saw it and I started crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, it really moved me. My friend Bob Bushnell, probably all you ladies know Bob Bushnell. Anyways, he's a good friend of mine, and his parents had lots of antiques and things. And I showed him the picture of them. I was just telling him a story, and he said, "Lisa, you have to see it again." So I did. And it's an 18th century church altar from France. My favorite thing that I have, because I spent a long time trying to find these. I used to carry these back from France myself, but they are linens. I have different kinds too, is that they get better and better. They're not going to fall apart or anything. They're just going to get better. They're so cute. They're like table runners, napkins, and the napkins can also be used as a placemat. Okay, so this is Venchi Italian chocolate, and they're a company that's been around since I think 1887. All of this stuff is fabulous. Every time we travel, because we take groups over, every time we travel, we stop in here. They have a giant chocolate fountain inside the store, and all of their stuff is just top notch. And if you buy the Venchi chocolate, you can have some of these cute little Italian bags, because in Italy they give you everything in a cute bag. So another favorite, this is Oprah's favorite. This is for the people that like truffle. So this is white truffle hot sauce. That's her favorite. Or we have black truffle sauces, and we have great little ones for stocking. So Lisa, your place looks so festive, and you have so much going on here for the holidays. Can you share some of the things that you're doing for the holidays and just overall? I think every day is a holiday at Ottawa, but especially at Christmas, we really go all out. So we have a freezer that's full of, we probably have 50 different items in there. So people fill their freezers, or maybe it can be somebody who's a baby, or somebody who's lost somebody, or we have cakes and specialties. We do lots of gift baskets, catering. We do holiday meals. So we do meals so people don't have to pick up on Christmas Eve and serve their family. Same meal item. So that's something that we do extra at the holidays. Thanks for seeing Ottawa, and I hope you can come down in person and see what we have prepared for the holidays. It's a great come and have breakfast, lunch, take something home. I believe we have the best unique gifts in town, handpicked for you. Hope you enjoy. Merry Christmas.
So hopefully you enjoyed that peek inside Ottawa. It is very, very festive in here, and all you do is wear your mask and come on down. I, of course, was tempted by some of the Venchi chocolates when we were down here last week filming, and picked up a couple other food items. So it's really kind of special right now. So come on down. Next, we are going to, oh, hold on one second. Next up is coming Lisa Peterson, and she is going to be sharing a live cooking demonstration, well, appetizer preparation anyway. And so you'll get to know her and see what one of her favorite and easy kind of festive appetizers is to make. So I think they're working on the camera setup right now. So 1 second. This is kind of a new thing for us too. As we're all learning Zoom because of the pandemic, we're also learning multiple camera angles. And I know that none of us here are professionals, so we're trying to have, I think, 3 cameras going at once. So I appreciate the patience. Oh, Carolyn, good question. She's asking if we need notes. This is being recorded, so we certainly can share the recording with you. And I'm sure if it's simple enough, we can try to write something up and maybe include it in one of the upcoming this week's, for sure. All right.
And also on that note, I'll be compiling all the recipes and things that people have shared. And if you didn't have a chance to share yet, but want to share something with the group when we socialize, you can put that in the chat and we'll keep an eye on that as well.
That sounds great. So we'll all come out with some great holiday recipes and tips. I think.
Hello, everybody. I'm gonna show you just one of the things that everybody always asks me to show them, and it's how to build a fruit tray. Anybody can build a great fruit tray. It's very easy. And it seems like, why would I show you how to do a fruit tray? And the reason is because people don't know how to cut fruit. So I'm going to show you. So you can do the same thing with a honeydew, a cantaloupe, watermelon. So what you want to do is you always want to have a flat surface. That's how you don't get cut. So you cut the ends off if it's a watermelon, a cantaloupe, either one. Now you have a flat surface and you have an easy way to work with things. And then you just start with one cut, and then you take your knife, and now you use your knife, and all you're doing is following the line of the skin. It's a little green, but you can just cut right in. And you can take your time, but it doesn't, I'm going to show you how quick it is. It doesn't take, you don't have to be perfect because it's going to be beautiful no matter what. So you're just following the line of the skin. I see people try and do it, but it's rolling all over the place. So that's why you need to have just a flat surface. And then scoop out the seeds. I've pre-cut some fruit. I'm only doing this so that I can show you, and then I'll build it real quick with some of the other stuff. So now you have just the half of the melon, and then no matter what you're cooking with, you always want to have a flat surface. So you want to cut these ends off, so now it lays flat. You can just throw that in a fruit salad or eat it. So then you can slice. Doesn't take long. Okay. I'm going to push that aside because I want to show you how to do the pineapple, because the pineapple is always the centerpiece. You can use anything, but you always want to have different shapes, different heights. So the pineapple is going to be the centerpiece on this. So you just cut off the top, but we're going to use that top, so we'll set it aside. Same thing, you want a flat surface, both flat surfaces. And then this is the same way that we did the melon. You just want to look at the top where the eyes are and just go on the inside of one of the eyes, just pick one. And you'll just cut in. And then when you cut, then the next time you're going to go and you're going to only look for these eyes. So you're just going to run your knife along where those eyes are. And then the same thing, we're just looking for those eyes, and you're going to cut into that, so you don't have to go back and do anything else. See, we're just looking for the eyes. And we're just going to cut right on the side of the eyes. Okay. Now, what we do with this is you need a good pair of scissors. You want to trim it because they can be really pokey, and when people are reaching in to get the fruit, it can poke them. So I just kind of do it as a slant, but you can do a bunch at a time. It's not perfection. It's going to be beautiful no matter what. You cannot make a mistake. And then I always run this under hot water. So I just got a little something that I can dunk it into. And the reason why you want to use the hot water, because it brightens it up and it'll make it a nice dark green on your tray. So this is the centerpiece. Can they see that? This, okay. So you start with that, and then we'll go back to the pineapple. So the pineapple, you don't need to core it. You're gonna cut on either side of the core. You're gonna leave the core intact in the middle. So it's just a straight cut, and you'll do a straight cut on either side. And that leaves you that 2 skinny pieces. And now you've just cut out the core of the pineapple, which you just throw away, or you could throw it into some ice water if you wanted to flavor your water.
We have a quick question.
Yes.
Everybody wants to know what that knife is.
It's a serrated knife. So you want to use a serrated knife, especially with the pineapple. You have more control over it. The other ones can slip. This will hang on to whatever you're using. So then you can cut it this way or this way, whichever way you want. But it's very quick. This is it's a really long slice, so I would probably just cut it in half. But try and leave everything together, because now you can use your knife to put it on there. So I just do that, and then you can push it down that way. You could take these pieces here. You could fan them if you wanted to. Okay, and then I have some fruit that I've pre-cut, but I like to take grapes. So I like to take whole grapes and hang them from here. Ooh, goodness. Just to give it some texture and some height. And then I take the same with the watermelon, is just slice the ends off, turn it on its side, and you don't have to trim it. If the watermelon, I wouldn't trim because it's easier. They have something to hold on to. So I just slice it and then just fan it either way. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just throwing it on there. So it's not like there's a way to do it. You just put it on there, because the berries and everything I'll show you at the end are going to fix everything. So it's not like, how did she do that? You just throw it on there. Just get everything on there. So then there's honeydew, and you just put on there what you like. So you can put it this way on there. Okay, you can fan it if you want. We have, and then we can pile some little grapes here, because the clumps, people like to eat the little clumps, but we'll fix that on top. That was a giant thing of grapes, but okay. And then, so for strawberries, I just wash the strawberries and I do not take the tops off, because it gives, it has something you can grab onto, but also it adds a little more character, I think. So I always start with the strawberries first, because people love all the other kinds of berries, but they would get smashed if you put them on the bottom. And then I'm not filling this up too much because it's just us, but you can fill it as much as you want. So I always like to have a couple of the strawberries sticking out here. Everything's going to be like it's cascading down. So you can just throw these anywhere. This is so easy. And you could build this like the night before and put it in the fridge. But if you're going to do that, you don't want to put your berries on there until once you wash strawberries, they're going to start to break down. If they're the really giant ones, you can cut them in fourths. Okay. And then you can use any fruit you have. I literally just take the whole container and just, it's all going to cascade down from your top centerpiece. I pulled some pomegranates because it's kind of the seasonal thing. There's no rhyme or reason. I'm just putting them on there. And then you could take orange wedges. You could even use a lime if you want. You could wedge it. You could twist. I'll show you just you can just cut fairly thin. At least a whole piece though. And then you can just take a little paring knife and you're going to cut all the way to the other rind. And then you can just take it and twist it. We're filming. And so you can just throw, throw some oranges on there. You could throw just a few wedges. I'm just throwing this on there so you can just see how easy it is. And you can get it as full as you want. And I always say, don't try and make it all like little soldiers in a row. It's a beautiful mess. It looks better that way. So the apples you can cut two ways, and I can show you. You can, same way like a pineapple. Cut the core out. So then you're using everything, but you don't have that core. Or it's fun also to just kind of have it, you can leave the seeds and everything in. You could do this with a pear also the same way. If you're going to do apples and pears or that sort of stuff ahead of time, that's why I would add these last. Then you'd want to soak them in a little bit of water with lemon juice. But this way, you have a whole apple. It just serves in a different way. Ta-da. There you go. See? Easy. Any questions? The what? The knife brand. Oh my gosh. This one is a Challenger. We buy a lot of the knives that we use all the time every day at like the restaurant supply. So, but I guarantee you if people have serrated knives at home, they probably don't use them very much except for their bread. So they're probably very sharp. And then I'm just going to show you a couple things to do with brie. It would be quick. People aren't entertaining much right now, I know, but you can do this. You could pop these in your freezer, really easy. Mostly when you go to any grocery store, you'll be able to find phyllo shells in the freezer section. and they are just little shells like these. And these are unbaked, and this is the easiest appetizer. Like I said, you could make these ahead of time and freeze them. Excuse me. This is just a brie. A triple cream brie is really nice. And brie goes a long way. You don't need much in here. So, and it's random. You just cut it to fit. And you don't need a lot because it's going to melt. I'm going to show you these, but we're not going to bake them because I'd have to go. Hello. Glenn, I'm filming. This is our janitor. Hello. He never sees me at night, so he's happy. Okay, so just like this, and then what I used, you could use any kind of jam, but these are raspberry tarts, and I use a seedless raspberry jam. And so it's like this, and you want to make sure that whenever you're using, you really mix it up, because it'd be too thick to use another way. Typically, I use 2 teaspoons, and then I just you really need very little. I won't use all of this. You just need a little bit on top, because you don't want it to overpower the brie. It's going to just provide a little bit of a glaze. So you can see there's really hardly anything on there. It's like less than half a teaspoon. So what happens is then you put these in the oven, or if you wanted, you could freeze it at this point and then pop it out and put it in the oven. So they only take 5 minutes in a 350-degree oven. You can put them in the oven, and you can see when they start to melt, and these will start to brown. And then all you do when they come out of the oven, you just need to be careful because they can be, it's like molten lava in there. So you just let it cool a minute, but as soon as they come out, I just pop the raspberries on like this, because then all that melted stuff will hold that raspberry in place. And then it's really pretty to serve on a tray or just have out. It's something really easy. And that's just, and we make these all the time for catering. So the other, anybody have any questions about that? I don't think so. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a quick wrapped brie. Same thing, phyllo dough, I'm sorry, not phyllo dough, puff pastry that you can buy at the grocery store. So there's 2 things you can do with this. I'm just going to tell you about the other one because I don't have all the stuff, but you can make a layered brie. You can just cut this in half this way. And for that, it's easier almost if you take dental floss and you lay it this way and just get a piece of dental floss and cut it this way and then pull it apart. Because if you're going to use a knife, it's going to want to stick to the knife, or make sure what you could do is you could pop this into the freezer and then cut it while it's not frozen solid, but a little bit frozen. The easiest thing is some dental floss. And then you'll pull it apart and you can fill it with anything like lox and dill and a little bit of red onion. And then on top, you could put like a little bit of sour cream with some chopped egg and some fresh dill, and then just serve it that way. You could use any kind of jam. Inside, sun-dried tomatoes and pesto is really good. And so this is a big sheet of puff pastry. And you need an egg mixed with a little bit of water for an egg wash so that everything will stick to it. I've already added a little bit of water in here. And again, it's not perfection. It's just because no matter what you do, it's going to be beautiful at the end. So I just kind of lay it on there and see how big. I'll start with just like a square. So what we would do here is open up any kind of jam. It can be sweet or savory. So we have like roasted garlic onion jam or a bourbon bacon jam, or this is a blueberry peach one. But just since I already have this out, I'm going to use this and show you. It can be any kind of a jam. You could even do caramelized onions on top or some marinated artichokes. You go sweet and savory either way. But you just put the jam on. This is going to be, I'm going to turn this over. So the good thing about something like this is that it sticks too. And you don't need a lot. So then turn it over, and then I'm just going to brush these edges so that I'm able to kind of pull it together. So then you need that egg wash to seal for it to hold on to itself. So I'm just going around. Okay, so I just left that on there. Then you could use anything. I have like little Christmas tree cut out that you want to egg wash to put on there. You can just decorate it however you want. This is like a little holly leaf. But I'm going to show you there's another little something like maybe you wanted to do. This is easy too in the summer. Maybe you want it, I could have this look like a leaf. Or a vine, and you could just wrap it like that, and then you could make it like it's little, like they're little grapes. And you just want to put plenty of egg wash on there because that's going to hold it into place, but also it's going to provide a glaze. You know, so I'm just showing you just different things, and you can pile different things on there. There's a little mitten. And then you need to freeze this before you bake it. It has to be frozen solid, and it will take about 30, 45 minutes in a 375-degree oven. Easy. Okay. And the last thing I was just going to tell you about it really is I don't know if I mentioned it when we did our little thing the other day, but this is the easiest appetizer. And it's just brie with lingonberry. And you just want to make sure that you mix it up really well. And you just pour it over the brie on a platter and serve it with ginger snaps. So that's 3 things you can do with brie, and they're all delicious. And that's all I've got. Merry Christmas, unless you need anything else.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Welcome.
Can you guys hear me okay now? Okay. Am I on?
I'm sleepy.
Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
No.
Nope. Okay. Let me try this again.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can't hear me. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks. So sorry about that. Little technical difficulties, and thank you, Jenna from the office, from being our tech person. We're just learning as we go here. So really appreciate Lisa working with us on this, and she gave us all these great tips. I know there were some questions in the chat that we'll follow up on with her, although I think, Suzanne, you gave a lot of answers to where you can find some of those things. So really fun little tips. I always love playing with Bree. One of my favorite things to do is put a mushroom duxelle in the middle, as she said, like cut it in half. And that's always kind of a crowd pleaser too. A nice mushroom garlic thing in there. Anyway, before we get to the sharing, we do want to do a membership moment. And today we have asked Celeste to share with us about her IWCF experience. And I want to start by thanking her because she is the person that got us Lisa. And Lisa's a very busy person, and especially at the holidays. And so it was really Celeste's relationship that got us to have Lisa to share and open up her spot for us tonight. So Celeste, can you share with us a little bit about your membership experience?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Linda just asked me to answer a couple of questions that she gave me, and I'm hoping you can hear me. Yeah? Okay. So I've only been a member for a couple of years, but I really have been watching IWCF for many, many, many years. Even I helped Susan Smith as she was even exploring the whole idea of a women's charitable foundation when I was the contributions manager at Wells Fargo. So although I haven't been a member, I have been watching from afar all of the great things that everybody has done. And then in my second career as a development person, I was a frequent applicant and applying for some of the grants at IWCF. So always been kind of around lurking, but I retired a couple of years ago and thought, I would like to get involved. And if you know Susan Smith and Heather Haregi, they knew I had retired and they gave me about 4 months to enjoy that. And you don't say no to those two people. So I joined a couple of years ago, and they sent me to the events committee, which was probably the best thing that I have done. It was a quick way for me to get to know everybody. And they put me right to work. As soon as I joined, they didn't give me much time to rub cream in my elbows. So that has really been the best thing about that. And I really look forward to those times when we can get back to have in-person events so we can see everybody and say hello to everybody and do a little cheers to everybody in person rather than afar. So I'm hoping that comes sooner rather than later. But this has been great. Thanks for all of your work putting this together. I think it's been terrific. So anyway, cheers to all of you, and thanks for all of the things the inspiring work that all of you have done. I think Boise is a better place to live because of all of you.
Oh, very sweet. Thanks so much, Celeste. We
Sure.
really appreciate your words and your membership. So thank you.
Sure, of course.
So the rest of our time together is pretty unstructured. I do want to recognize a couple people before we get talking, because it would be great if we could just kind of, end up having sort of a conversation. But Christine AV has really played a big role in pulling this together, and her wonderful daughter Maggie, who came and did the video and the editing, and they really put together that great video, and she's here with us tonight too. So really want to thank them, and Linnea and the events committee. Also, just thank you so much for your help with this. So the rest of the time, we were trying to emulate a social aspect of, that we have in our in-person events. And so since it's the holidays, we ask people to send in their favorite recipes, traditions, that kind of thing. And we got a few in. So I thought I would, if you have anything that you want to share, please put it in the chat room. Linnea's monitoring that, and so she'll pipe in and call on people. But I have the list of folks who shared, and 2 people shared cheesecake recipes. And I thought I would start with because they're very different. So Sue Spear, if you're here and you don't mind sharing, could you unmute yourself and share a little bit about yours?
Sure. I submitted a white chocolate peppermint cheesecake. And to me, if Christmas tasted like anything, it would taste like that. I've brought it to a couple of events and it seems to disappear and I don't have much to take home, unfortunately.
Does it have big chunks of peppermint, like a candy cane in the middle of it? Or is it in the topping, or how do you do that?
I put it in the topping. One time I put it in a NutriBullet to try to chop up the peppermint fast, and it turned into dust, which I guess is easier to eat, but wasn't as awesome. So I tend to smush them with a rolling pin instead.
Very nice. You see that a lot with people who make barks and stuff for the holidays too. They just kind of sort of coarsely crush the candy cane, and then you get the true experience. So thanks for sharing that, Sue. And now I'm going to jump over to Laura Simic, who has a completely different cheesecake recipe to share.
I do. It is a savory cheesecake. So you can use mine for an appetizer and then have Sue's for dessert after you're done. It is savory cheesecake with mushrooms and spinach and garlic and lots of herbs. And what else is in it? Cream cheese. And it's really good. It's got a toasted breadcrumb crust, and you can serve it with crackers. The people look at it kind of funny and say, "It's a what?" And then they take it and have a bite, and I never have any leftovers. It's a hit at parties. The recipe that you'll get is for like a regular size cheese springform pan, which I think is 8 or 9 or 10 inches. I make half the recipe in a 6-7 inch springform pan, and it's plenty for a crowd.
Great. I have to try that one, really. So thanks, Laura. How about Teresa? You had a favorite that you shared with us. Teresa Broadus. Are you here? Are you maybe muted? Okay, we'll try somebody else. I'm having a hard time seeing who all is on, so I'm gonna continue on. And Trinja, are you on? If you are, you had a tradition of how to make your house smell good. Oh, she's not here. Okay, thank you, Jenna. Is Carol Whittle with us? She also had a memory. If you could unmute yourself and share your fun story.
Okay, well, I just wrote about when we were much younger. I came from a fairly large family of 5 kids, and my youngest brother could never buy anything. And so he would find dead batteries and walnuts and stuff like that, and he would wrap them up and put them under the tree for us. And we still tease him to this day, and he's in his 50s. But it was a cute attempt by him to, be part of the gift exchange at Christmas.
Very resourceful. That's
Yeah.
fun. Thank you for sharing that. How about Linda Hummel? I saw you on earlier, perhaps. Are you with us? Okay, so moving on, Vicki Kremeyer. Kremeyer, I said that wrong.
No, Kremeyer's right out here. It's
Oh, I did. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. You shared something with us.
I did. The first strong, strong memory that came to me of my childhood Christmases was Christmas Eve. And we lived in really small towns because my dad was a forester. And both my parents were musicians. Mom played the church piano or organ. And my dad always directed the choir and sang in the choir. So we'd go to the late Christmas Eve service, and we kids sat in the pews, being pretty darn well behaved. And there was a Christmas tree at church, and it was always magical. And of course, it was familiar. And so we'd go to church from 11 to midnight. And then we'd come home, and our Christmas tree would be all lighted up, and the gifts would all be there. And Mom made a wonderful spiced cider that would have been simmering on the stove. And so the house was just full of wonderful, wonderful cinnamon and, you know, all these cloves, all these wonderful scents of Christmas. And so we would sit around the tree, and my dad would read us the Christmas story from the book of Matthew again, because we'd already heard it at church. And then we could have cookies and this wonderful hot spice cider. And then we could open our gifts. And so we didn't have lots of gifts, but we took one at a time, and each person had to take their turn. So by the time we were done with our gifts, it was usually 2 a.m. Now, staying up until 2 a.m. was a big deal when I was a kid. And that meant that we could sleep in on Christmas Day. We did not get up and have a big breakfast and all of that. We'd already opened our gifts. We'd sleep in. Mom and Dad had been working on all this music. No big Christmas dinner. We'd have a nice brunch. And then we'd visit our friends in the neighborhood, or they'd come visit us, and we'd play with our new things or wear our new things. And so that's my memory of Christmas. And when I've got stepkids, we did the Christmas Eve thing. And then the difference was that after Christmas service, we opened gifts before we went to church. Then we went to church, and then we took the kids over to their moms so they would get another Christmas on Christmas morning. So that seemed to work pretty well.
Absolutely. Wow, what a great story. I have not heard something like that before. That's really fun. I kind of love the get it done right at the beginning of, and then you get to sleep in. That part sounds wonderful. So we have somebody who has a cocktail, and if she's on, that would be Jenna. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Yay!
Well, we celebrated Christmas a little differently, I guess, than most people too, because I grew up in Southern California, and my dad had a relative in Pasadena. That was before there were freeways. So on Christmas Eve, we would open all of our presents to each other, not Santa. And the kids would go to bed, and the adults would open their stuff. And then in the morning, it was all Santa Claus. And so I think at that point, my parents thought having a Ramus Gin Fizz was the appropriate thing to start off Christmas Day while we opened Santa's stuff. And I don't know how much they drank of that before we drove to Pasadena, but that didn't last very long. And after that, it was just a tradition on Christmas morning to have Ramus Gin Fizz. And when I grew up and had kids, it was perfect for our family too. And so whatever Christmas it is, that's what we have in the morning.
That sounds great. And I see, I'll share the recipe, but I see it has an egg white in it. So does that make it have a nice kind of foamy surface? Is that what that does?
Yeah.
Lovely.
I don't drink that except for in the morning, but.
Well, it has egg in it, so it's breakfast, right?
Well, it wasn't breakfast, but.
Very good. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that I looked through, and I don't know if I missed anybody that gave me their recipes, but you can certainly speak up. I will share one of my favorite kind of memories and traditions with my family. Ever since growing up, we always on Christmas Eve had cheese fondue for dinner. And it was just so fun because that was the one time a year we had it. And it just kind of made it fun. And you always tried to knock the piece of bread off of the other person's fork. And so it just made it kind of fun. And back then it was just a cheese fondue that we dipped bread in it. And and over the years now my sister hosts Christmas Eve. and she serves the same cheese fondue, but now we have just a million different dippers between, you know, a protein like ham, all sorts of veggies, apples and pears, and it's one of my favorite parts of the year. And oh, Laura just sent me a note saying that she remembers my turkey meatballs, and that was actually another fun thing that is good appetizer for when you're serving a lot of people, and it's easy. So that's very fun too. Carolyn, I think you said you mentioned a favorite in the chat. You want to share that with everybody?
Sure. This is not my original recipe, although we have rocked this recipe in our family for years and years, and it's creamed mint brownies. So it's a layer, just a box brownie, because I'm the woman who asked about the phyllo. So you know that I don't really, or about the puff pastry, I'm not really a cooker woman. I'm an eater woman. So any box brownie, we like to put chocolate chips in our box brownies so that it makes them seem fancier than they are. So any brand. And then there's a layer of creme de menthe, which is butter and powdered sugar and some creme de menthe. So you got some green, and then you take the little, what are those little mints that are the
Andes.
The Andes mints. You chop them. The next layer though is chocolate chips melted, and you put some butter in that. And so you've got this brownies, you've got the creme de menthe layer, you've got the chocolate fudge layer, and then you put your chopped up Andes mints.
Wow.
And what's neat about these is you just need because there's so much butter in them, you just need a small piece. It goes a long way. They are rather addictive though. And it's a recipe. I want to say that maybe someone from the Junior League 20, 30 years ago gave it to me. So I will give whomever that is credit when I dig out that recipe.
I have that recipe.
Very good.
I have that recipe, and it's from Susan Smith from a long time ago.
From who is it, Jenna?
Susan Smith, a long time ago.
Susan. Well, Susan, did you invent this recipe? I know she's on the call. I saw her. Susan.
No, I didn't, but I think is it in the Junior League cookbook or some other cookbook? Yeah, I've made it, I think, many times.
Somebody wrote out the recipe for me, so I'm giving her credit. Now maybe
Okay.
Very nice.
copied it from the Junior League cookbook. I don't know. Smart woman.
Yeah.
Which Junior League
great.
cookbook?
Well, probably
Which
the old
Junior
one.
League cookbook? There were a number of them over the years. The green one?
Probably the
Bound to Please.
Bound to Please. Now I'm going to be, I think it's from the Junior League cookbook, but I do have a recipe for some kind of mint green brownie in some cookbook, which I can share with Linda. How's that?
All right, that does it. I'm going to go grab it, ladies. I'll put it in the chat.
Awesome. That's great. Sheila, I think you said you might have something to share. Did I see that cross over my chat?
I do. I should have submitted this ahead of time. Our family has a Christmas Eve tradition that my mom is responsible for, Alice Hennessy, who's with us tonight also. Mom grew up in Massachusetts, and her family's been there for many generations. And so we have a couple of family recipes that are traditional New England and probably Old English recipes. And the one that we had growing up every Christmas Eve was crab Newburg. And it's a creamy, it's chock full of lump crab in a creamy condensed milk sauce. And you serve it over toasted English muffins, and it is to die for. A little bit of cooking sherry, and then of course, because of my dad, a liberal dose of Tabasco. But it's incredible.
Very good. If you have that recipe to give to us, I would put that in. I'm just going to compile them all so everybody has them at the beginning of the year.
My recipe, I can't tell which side, but it says Susan Smith on there, doesn't it?
Oh.
One side or the other. It's really old news.
That perfectly sums up this wonderful group of women, doesn't it? Linnea, do we have any other folks that come up in the chat that wanted to share, or does anybody want to? She's right behind me. Okay.
Linda, the girls and I
Yes.
are enjoying this, and KK is saying, you must tell everyone that our Christmas morning tradition is to make and eat monkey bread. So if anybody knows, doesn't know monkey bread, it's the Pillsbury rolls biscuits you cut in, and there's a great recipe online, and it's a really easy, delicious breakfast, right, KK? Definitely right, Lucy?
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate that. And I saw that you're going to be making something. Is that the brownies that you guys are going to be making? Yeah. Very good. Somebody asked about Andes mints. They're those like rectangular little mints that are chocolate on the top and bottom and have like a cream de menthe center. And they come in those little stacked in those little rectangular boxes. You can find them, I think, in a lot of grocery stores. Anyone else want to share? You just unmute yourself and speak up. I'm hearing a lot of myself, and that's not great. All right. Oh, and Winco sells Andes mints. Awesome. Thanks, Caroline.
Well, one thing I do think is fair to add is we're all learning how to eat more healthfully and lower the carbs. I have a recipe that's new in our family and we love it. And it is for a sugar-free pumpkin pie. So it's a crustless pie.
Oh, wow.
And it's sugar-free, meaning it's not regular sugar. There are lots of different types that you can do. We just made one with monk fruit sugar that was excellent. And it has, for people who are watching blood sugar, monk fruit sugar has no effect on blood sugar. And yet it's granular, just like a white sugar. I know they sell it in bulk at Winco. You can also get it through Amazon. There are a lot of different brands and things. And so I would love to share that because it's a way for people, myself included, to enjoy some of the holiday stuff. I also just converted an ice cream recipe to using monk fruit sugar so that it's a low carb yumminess.
Mm-hmm. That's great. We'd love to see those. And I agree. Somebody turned me on to monk fruit sweetener like a year and a half ago, and it's got similar consistency, a great sweetness. So thanks for reminding of that. And I actually made a crustless quiche not too long ago that I found a recipe for. That really cut out a lot of the calories, and you can put anything in it. I think I did mostly spinach, but spinach and mushrooms, but you can put anything you want in it. But there's ways to cut those as well and make them still taste good. And I didn't even miss the crust this time. So that's another one I'll add to the list.
Hey, ladies, this is
yes.
And I have the green Bound to Please book, and I just found the recipe. Do you want me to put my camera on and so you can copy down the chocolate mint squares, or could I send a photo to somebody for distribution?
You know what? I actually bought a used copy of that book a month or so ago. So now that I know it's in there, I can take care of that, and I'll just put it with the group since I'm pulling them all together. So thank you for that.
427.
427. Awesome.
So I was on the committee of women who put that together years ago. And the name Bound to Please comes from the fact that we found this cool binding that allowed it to stand up. And so we had a little contest, and a friend who was also on it, Katie Stein, came up with the name, and that's where Bound to Please comes from. It's a great cookbook. It's really fun. Yep, there's it stands up by itself. I remember I was so disappointed when they redid it and did it in a regular binding because it was less expensive, and it just didn't match.
I think I got one of those.
Yeah. It's a great cookbook.
testers too. We had some weird ones. One of them was like soaking saltine crackers and then rebaking them in the oven.
Little tricks and tips everywhere, huh? Very good. Well, ladies, if there's nothing else, thank you for going through this little test of an adventure for our holiday social this year. Hopefully you enjoyed it, got a couple things that you might make in the future, and tips from Lisa, which I just, again, can't thank her enough for sharing with us today and opening her doors to us. Christine or Linnea, did you want to add anything before we sign off?
I want to say thank you, Linda, for putting this together, and thank your team, and Linnea also. And you know, I thought it was fun. I'm hungry now, so I'm going to go home and see what I have that I can start making for a late dinner. So I think it's going to have to do with brie tonight. So I hope everybody has a really lovely holiday season, and please just stay in touch with one another, and hopefully just enjoy your family and stay safe, because we really want to see all of you in person soon. Stay well.
Absolutely. Very good. Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays, and we'll see you in 2021. It's going to be a better year.
Happy holidays. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you. So fun.
Thank you.